Treasure Coast Connector, connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Well, welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras of the Ferris Group, one of our sponsors. Treasure Coast Connector is a show that puts a spotlight on local business owners so we learn their backstory and why they do what they do and what makes their products and services so unique and special. Today, we're going to actually be talking about some scary stories that have made the news lately surrounding violence in the workplace, in our schools, in stores and events. But you know, there is a business here on the Treasure Coast that provides a plethora of services to keep us safe and secure. We're going to be talking about investigations, security. We're going to be talking about concealed weapons permits, bail bonds, and CPR and first aid classes, and so much more. Joining me in this very important conversation is Chief Richard Stein, and he's the owner of All Florida Investigations and Security Services here in Port St. Lucie. So welcome, Richard. It's a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you for having me. It's my honor.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am very happy that you have this business here in the Treasure Coast. And before we dive into it and the particulars, before you came to this area, you were down in Broward County with the sheriff's office as a police officer, and you're also a bail bondsman. So what made you decide to enter the world of security and safety?
Well, back then when I was getting into the sheriff's office, they didn't really have a full-time position. It was a whole different criteria of how they do things back then. So I kind of had a bail bondsman friend of mine who approached me, and I said, okay, well, because I was kind of looking for something to do. Mm-hmm. My grandfather passed away that I was taken care of. So I said, let me go ahead. I need a career. I don't want to be stuck. So I was like, okay, I'll check out the bail bonds thing. Mm-hmm. Kind of worked out really well. I just celebrated my 21st year anniversary.
Wow,
so
wonderful.
It was, obviously it's something that I was meant to do, and it is an awesome experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. So now with your company, All Florida Investigations and Security Services, mm-hmm. you provide certification and training classes for security guards.
Yes.
Now, here in the Treasure Coast, before you moved your business from Broward to Port St. Lucie, if someone wanted to be a security guard, they had to either drive all the way north to Brevard County or all the way down south to Port St. Lucie. Yeah. They don't have to do that now. So please tell us about the different classes and the distinctions between the different security guards.
Yeah, so there's the Class D, which is the unarmed security guard license, and that is where an unarmed security officer is trained in the rules, the regulations, ethics, all kinds of procedures, report writing, things of that nature, mm-hmm. all the foundational criteria that a profitable and well-trained security officer would need.
Okay, mm-hmm. And then the other one is
the armed. It's the G.
The G rated.
And that's what we teach them all the fundamentals and necessities of having a firearm, the safety aspects, and everything that goes as far as an armed security officer.
Wonderful. So for a lot of people that know me, you know that I've, been involved in staffing and recruiting. Mm-hmm. And I personally think that being a security guard is a wonderful career move for former military, police officers, detectives, private security people, investigators, students,
yes.
That are going to school. It just fits so well. So I'm just going to read this number off, 772-595-5335. You call that number, and that will get you to Richard and Tina and their team so that you can sign up for these classes, because it's a great way to earn a living. I personally feel. My mom was a security guard in her retirement, actually, and she loved that position. Mm-hmm. For her, it was an observe and report situation. It was perfect.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. So now we're going to talk about the fact that in addition to training security guards, you also have an agency that provides security guards to local companies for events. Tell us about those different services.
So having a security officer is probably one of the best things, because you're having the eyes and ears on ground where you're having your event, your construction site, your holiday party, anything that you need. You may not need a security guard for the holiday party, but you're likely going to need it for the parking lot for those hundreds of cars that are hopefully not getting broken into, but they could be just for the parking lot.
Oh, that's a really good consideration.
Absolutely.
So the security guard services that you provide then are for businesses that need security on site
Yes.
for long-term needs.
Yes.
And it could be in 24/7, or it could just be for overnight. Is that correct?
Sure. It could be for short-term, temporary, seasonal, or long-term needs.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then if other agencies in the area are all of a sudden called on to provide a lot more security guards than they had anticipated, you work with them in a like a subcontractor basis.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
I've got coverage throughout basically the whole eastern seaboard, all the way from Key Largo all the way to Orlando. So if anybody needs any coverage, I can pretty much take care of the whole eastern seaboard.
Very nice. That's a very wide area of coverage. That's why I was saying before Treasure Coast and beyond. Okay, very good. I also personally feel when I'm going somewhere that security is so important for events. I'm one of those people that if there's somebody with a wand, I was at Disney Springs and I saw that actually in one of their clubs, and they had people being, having
Wanded.
a wand,
Yep.
wanded. Okay, that's a good way of saying it. And so I don't mind having my bag checked.
Exactly.
So when I see security somewhere at an event, I just feel so much better. We are now approaching the snowbird season, the event season here in Florida. So for all of these event promoters, businesses that are doing expos and things like that, I'll just read the number again. 772-595-5335 for those that are listening on the radio. For those that are watching, they have the benefit of seeing your number scrolled through as we're taping this.
Yeah. And they can go to my website too. A lot of information on my website.
Yes. So the URL?
securityinflorida.com.
That is a wonderful URL,
Nice and easy.
securityinflorida.com.
Yep. Nice and easy.
Okay. Very good. So now another thing that I wanted to talk about, bail bonds. You mentioned being a bail bondsman, so that's available 24/7.
Yes.
Another term that I liked to use that you corrected me on is being a bounty hunter. We all know Dog the Bounty Hunter. It's a very entertaining show.
Yes.
But God forbid if, you hear on the news somebody broke out in jail up north and they somehow managed to get to a different state. If a fugitive enters our area, you can assist law enforcement, but you call it fugitive recovery.
Yes.
So explain that.
So fugitive recovery is where somebody doesn't go to court and they actually skip their bond by either not going to court and leaving and just hiding out somewhere, or like you said, leaving the state or the jurisdiction. So if somebody does come to Florida, or if somebody is in Florida, somebody would need to get a bondsman in Florida.
Okay.
You have to be licensed. Florida's regulated, so that's why it's a no bounty hunting state.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a no bounty hunting state.
Right.
Okay.
So if somebody comes from another state, they actually have to find a bondsman that is licensed and that can help them take care of the fugitive or apprehend that fugitive.
Well, very cool. Any exciting stories?
Could tell you a few. I don't think we have enough time, but I have arrested well over 1,000 fugitives in my 20-year career.
Well over 1,000.
Well over 1,000.
Wow.
Yes.
And I'm sure some of it is just routine. Okay, you got me. You knock on the door and you got me.
Yeah.
But then you probably had some pretty good chase stories and things like that.
Yeah,
but we're
quite a
going to save that for another time.
Yeah, maybe off the air.
Yeah, I'm going to bring him back on the show. I'll get it out of him. We're going to have some very entertaining stories. Well, welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras of the Ferris Group, one of our sponsors. Before the break, I was speaking with Richard Stein, and he is the owner of All Florida Investigations and Security Services, and he was going over some of the services that he offers to keep us safe and secure in our homes, workplaces, the stores, and events. So, Richard, we're diving right back in.
Get in it.
But I wanted to circle back because we were talking about the bail bondsman, okay? And you have a separate company for that with its own URL. So give us that URL again, the website.
So the company name is All Florida Bail Bonds Inc. and the URL is thegotobondsman.com.
Very good. Okay. So another service that you provide is private investigations.
Yes.
And that is very important, and it covers a wide range of things. So people think of insurance fraud and things like that. But we also think about background checks. Then there's corporate espionage. That's very intriguing. People that, unfortunately might have a cheating spouse, So talk about this service and the different things that you do there.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I have done many of those. I've done cheating spouse. I was hired as an employee for corporate espionage to actually find cheating and thievery within the company.
You went undercover as an employee?
Undercover as an employee.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that was a lot of fun, and not catching bad guys, but it was fun to just be undercover and pretend I was an employee when I was making notes of the customers that were causing the employer to lose a lot of money.
Oh, wow.
So, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
So
you do this investigation. A lot of it is computer work.
Yes.
So there's a lot of research. So you're very savvy. You have all the tools that are needed to access information.
Yes.
Okay. And then it's also stakeouts and things like that. So you're going to go on location.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Oftentimes in my vehicle, and we're on a stakeout, and taking pictures and taking video of happenings going in and out and stuff like that. So absolutely. And doing nationwide background searches, comprehensive background searches. So that's nationwide comprehensive. So yeah, absolutely.
That's very important for employers. So you'll do those types of things.
Yeah, for employers, for anybody hiring a contractor, anybody that's looking to hire an employee, or even somebody looking to date somebody, especially in the middle generation, and
I know a lot of people are finding people online.
Yes, check them out.
They don't really know who they are.
Yep.
So that's actually very interesting. So you can research those people.
Yep. Let them know. Let somebody know if they're looking to date somebody. Let them know if they have a criminal history. Just so they can have an idea of who they're actually getting involved with.
Wow. And then for contractors, that's another thing. We always hear, especially here in Florida after a storm, and we need people coming in and helping us. Thank goodness that there are a lot of good people that do that. They will actually leave their families from other states and spend months here.
Exactly.
But then there's always the bad ones.
Yep. So you want to know if they're involved in criminal activity, if they've ever been arrested for fraudulent activity like that, thievery, grand thefts, and things of that nature. Absolutely. Very important to know.
Wow. So it's not only the companies that are bringing in these people, but it's individual homeowners as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially on Craigslist, you can look up there and look for like a contractor, so to speak, and you can, then you pick somebody. You don't know who you're picking. Yeah. So definitely check out anybody you're looking to hire.
Okay. Well, very good.
Yes.
Another service that you provide, a lot of people, it's polarizing. Guns are polarizing, okay? However, it is in our Constitution that we have the right to bear arms.
Yes.
So you provide concealed weapon permit classes, but in addition to that, it's also gun training and safety.
Yes.
And you are a licensed gun dealer.
Yes.
So let's dive into this, please.
Yes, great subject. So today, where security and safety is so prevalent in this day and age, having your, having somebody teach you what the right thing to do, keeping your eyes open, looking around when you go in your car, have your keys in your hand, things of that nature, and getting into a little bit more of having a pepper spray or even having a firearm and being properly trained with everything. Absolutely. Yep.
Right. So in addition to the concealed weapons stuff, as a woman, if I needed additional training, so you do those classes too? Yeah,
we do personal and private firearm and protection, as well as if they don't want a firearm, we just do some training and educational skills, pepper spray, things of that nature, just so they could be more aware and better informed of the potential risks and threats that are out there.
That's very important, especially you hear about, things, you feel like sometimes you're in the mall and you hear about an event and then you go to the mall and you don't want to be, a sitting duck, so to speak. So some of these classes might make people feel a little bit more confident and less scared and apprehensive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Especially in today's age, there's so many people that are just afraid of the word firearm, and they're afraid because they don't really have the proper education. They weren't really introduced in the proper way. Maybe as a child, they were just introduced, that's bad, stay away, fear, fear, fear. And they grow up thinking that when it's really not. I mean, it's really a necessary educational requirement to have for anybody.
Yeah. No, that's very true. I was at a friend's wedding in Dallas, Texas. We were at the Gaylord in Irvine, and the big atrium that they have in these hotels, the Gaylord hotels, they're so beautiful. So we're in this one area, and all of a sudden I hear gunfire.
Wow.
And I'm originally from New York. This was only a few years after 9/11. I almost hit the floor.
Wow.
And everybody's like, ma'am, this is Texas. We have a gun show going on, and these are blanks. It's a show. They were doing a show.
Wow.
But everybody's calm.
Yeah.
Nobody's reacting except for me. I'm like on the floor
ground.
practically. And that was so funny. So
That's funny.
anyway, I just wanted to share that little silly story. But another question, last but not necessarily least, and we're going to recap, but last but not necessarily least is CPR, the AED, and first aid training.
Absolutely.
And so I think what a lot of business owners need to realize, again, I'm going to look and point in the camera for those that are watching this, is when, God forbid, somebody gets hurt, okay, somebody's immediately going to call 911, but those minutes after are critical. And I think at least maybe once a year, you probably have a different schedule, but having somebody come in like Richard and his team, or going to his location so that your employees are trained, that can make a huge difference between somebody being kind of hurt to severely hurt or worse.
Exactly.
So tell us about these classes.
I mean, you brought up a great point. Today, people are the first responders. No disparaging of law enforcement. I love very pro law enforcement, very pro ambulatory service, emergency response. But today, the day and age where the private citizen, the person behind the desk, the person at the mall, the person serving coffee, that person is the first responder.
Yeah.
So having a concealed permit, having your life rescue skills, and I'm certified through the Red Cross. Having that,
very good. Okay.
The Red Cross, having those skills for CPR and for how to operate the automated external defibrillator, and then being properly trained in first aid, just having that knowledge to be the first responder until the actual authorities get there is critical these days. Yep, that chain of survival, those minutes, they count.
Now, do you go to an employer's workplace for training?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so you'll do that.
I've gone to daycares.
I was going to say daycares, assisted living facilities.
Any places that have nurses and they do an annual recertification, or even a new hire needs a certificate, we do all of that. I've got a daycare that I do every year. I always go there. There's usually a dozen or so employees there, and I make sure everybody is well trained and well informed.
Very nice. And then having that retraining.
Yes.
Because people will forget if, obviously you don't want to have to perform CPR often at all, if ever, right?
Of course.
So you go through that training, but it's this, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
So having you come back year after year is a great idea for these businesses.
Totally. Usually it's required.
Okay.
Especially in the medical field and in the daycare field, it's required. So by the state, if they're having any funding by the state, it's required to get annually certified.
And then you also will do the classes at your location.
Yes.
Okay, in Port St. Lucie.
Yes.
And I'm going to have you say the address at the very end, but why don't you say the address now, nice and slow, for everyone of where you're located for these
Port
classes.
St. Lucie, 6971 Hancock Drive. It's right on US 1, parallel to US 1, and about a mile north of Prima Vista.
Okay, and you're on the west side of
On
US
the
1.
west side, yes.
Okay, very good. In a very nice shopping plaza.
Very nice plaza.
Okay, all right, very good. So what I want to do is circle back again
Sure.
because for people that get to watch this, it's wonderful. They can replay it. They
Yep.
can go to planetvero.com. You hit live stream. You find Treasure Coast Connector. For
Yes.
people that are listening on the radio, if they want to watch this, you know, they can do that. But you are the only agency right now, I have to state this emphatically, that provides security guard training,
Yes.
which is wonderful. So nobody has to now drive because it's a week-long certification
It
class.
is. Yeah, it is.
So
a
to,
week long.
to drive every day or to stay at a hotel up in Brevard or down in
Right.
Palm Beach County, they don't have to do that anymore.
Exactly.
So they can go to your location on US 1.
Yes.
All right, very good. So we are almost out of time.
Okay.
So if there's anything else that we didn't touch on, you have about 30 seconds to like say something before we wrap up, you know, and I'll have you give your information. But is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
What I will say that I see prevalent is in people that are hiring security officers or hiring a company, they often are not checking out that company to make sure that they are really licensed, they are
Ooh, yep.
insured, they are qualified, and providing trained individuals, which is very important.
Thank you. Because you know what? Not every company, you know, is created equal or has the same level of
Professionalism.
yeah. I was trying to be a little careful in how I worded this, but you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
And you are very knowledgeable as a former law enforcement officer and as a bail bondsman.
Yes.
So I want to say thank you so very much because this is so important, especially now as the holidays are approaching.
Yes.
So once again, tell everyone how they can connect with you directly.
So you can go to my website, securityinflorida.com. You can always call us 772-595-5335. And you can reach out and you can even register for classes on our website. Fill out a contact page if you can't get to a phone, and we'll contact you with any questions you need.
Well, that's it for this show. I'm Ellen Contreras, Treasure Coast Connector. Have a wonderful and productive week.